Hari Om. Good evening. A very warm welcome to all of you. Please come. Let's pray together and seek the blessings of the Almighty. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutam gamaya sahana vavatu sahano bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Together, we offer our humble salutations filled with Shraddha, Bhakti and Prapatti to the Almighty, who also has the divine names Siddha Sankalpaha and Siddhidaha. To such a great supreme power, we offer our salutations and seek His grace, His mercy, His love, His compassion, His blessings, His strength, His forgiveness. O Lord, please bestow upon us the divine qualities of Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya, only and only to understand Thy true nature and have that first-hand experience of aparoksha anubhuti. And we beseech in you that at the end of our lives, we reach Thy holy feet. Our humble salutations to the entire Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat. Today, with the grace of the Guru Parampara and the Divine Almighty. We are on our Divine Discourse number 291 on the 19th of July 2022. Shubhakrit Nama Samvatsara Dakshinayana Grishma Rutu Ashadha Mas Krishna Paksha Shashti Uttara Bhadra Nakshatra Atiganda Yoge Bhadrakarane. So on this auspicious day of Tuesday and the auspicious time of the evening, we all take a firm resolve with complete surrender that whatever is happening to us in our lives, be it any incident, situation, circumstance happening through any person, object or place, O Lord, I don't understand thy game, but I completely surrender that whatever you have been doing is only and only to uplift me from this ocean of birth and death. With that utmost faith and devotion, I accept every aspect sent to me in my life with prasada buddhi, and I completely surrender and seek your help and guidance at every step. Om Tat Sat. Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you. So, now Arjuna had asked 3 questions. So we are on, now the Lord has answered a few of them, and now the rest of the questions are going to be answered. So now we'll start with a brief recap. In verse 21, Arjuna asked Lord Krishna 3 things. What qualities can be seen in a person who has crossed over the 3 gunas? So basically he says, I want to know his qualities. And with that kind of a quality, how is his behavior? Because the same person, he is living in the world where we are living. He also has senses. He also has a mind. He also has challenges. He is also under the spell of karma prarabdha. So in such a scenario where the world is teasing him, tossing him, and at times being rude to him, how does he behave? And lastly, more importantly, he says, I want to know, O Lord, what is the method such a person uses to cross over the 3 gunas? See, imagine, you have to make a very clear distinction. You are different, the body is different, the mind is different, and the gunas in the mind which come from the Karana Sharir are also different. But now what has happened? We have got everything together. But this is one clear distinction. So a person, if somebody behaves abruptly, where did it come from? It is not the person who has behaved abruptly with us, or rudely, or kindly, in a kind manner, It is not the person. It is the gunas in that person which made him to behave like that. The rest of the things, what you see is external. You see a face, you see a body, you see a voice, you see actions, you see expressions. All these are external to the gunas. The gunas makes use of this body, mind, senses conglomerate, and it acts. So if you want to see the root of where all this is coming from, this is coming from the gunas. So here the Arjuna asks a very intelligent question. He says, I want to know how a person crosses the three gunas. Because every action of ours is influenced by these three qualities, which is either sattva, rajas and tamas. And I don't want to be in any of these. So therefore, how do I get saved from these three gunas? That's how we started. So in that now, in the 22nd verse, Lord Krishna basically gives an introduction. Prakashancha pravrittencha mohamevacha pandava na dveshti sampravrittani na nivrittani kankshati. He gives a brief introduction for these three gunas. Yes, these three gunas are powerful. Each one comes in different ways. It comes in the form of pravritti, where you see light, where you see action, where you see delusion. And now the 23rd verse, which is again very important, which we studied in the last course. Now I would like to take a recap of that verse and we'll move on to the 24th verse. So the 23rd verse, I'll post it on the screen. We'll understand this carefully. See, certain verses are extremely important, so we need to relook at them because of their importance. Udasina vadasino gunairyo navilchalyate guna vartanta ityeva yovatishtati nengate. So, guna vartanta ityeva. So we have to see, when you see a person, now that we got to know how the whole conglomerate is made up of. It is made up of a body, and in the body there is a mind, and the body gets into action through its senses, sense organs and organs of action. So behind that there is deep inside you a Karan Sharir which keeps sprouting all the vasanas, your tendencies. And how does a tendency be formed? Be it a good or a bad tendency, is formed by your actions. And how does an action take place? By a desire. And how does a desire take place? By a sense organ getting associated with the object of senses. So in this way, when this complete circuit is completed, so that goes deep into your Karana Sharir, and it manifests there as a tendency. So it sprouts. See, if you have a habit of having a cup of coffee or tea in the morning, you don't have to set an alarm for that. Immediately from inside, you get that, oh, I want my cup of coffee. In the evening also, if you have a particular time, you must have forgotten, you must be busy in doing something, but at that point of time, you get an internal awakening, a tendency, a vasana, that where is my cup of coffee? And then you ask for it. If you are not getting it, then you keep asking it again and again. It's already 10 minutes, I want that. Another 10 minutes, I want that. Now where is this coming? Any habit which we have formed, it keeps repeating to us. So from these gunas, now when they sprout in the mind, they are categorized into three broad categories, which are sattva, rajas and tamas, which we have studied in ample. No, so now we understand that when a person is good, don't look at the person being good, look at the guna in him being good. If a person is nasty, look at the guna in him. Now he is under the influence of tamaguna. So he is behaving nasty. So now the aspect here, what we need to understand is not only look at the gun which is in the other person, rajogun, tamogun or sattvagun, but at the same time don't you also look at you, that now the tamogun in me is active. I don't know, I am feeling very lazy. I don't know, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to talk to that person, I want to meet this person, I want to get that, I want to give this. Your rajogun is active. Sometimes you feel calm, peaceful, you want to listen to a nice bhajan or a nice piece of music, or you just want to go and sit by the beach and see the lovely sunset, or you want to read a beautiful spiritual book. Now, all these thoughts which are coming is, now know that the sattva guna is in action. So by doing this way, you become a spectator. This is what we need to learn here. Once we become a witness to ourselves. And what is the technique and trick over here? Just like you look at others, look at your own self as a person. Now you and the person are mixed up. So what every aspect of this spiritual journey, it tells you that this mix up, this unholy union of the Chetana Shakti, the reflected consciousness, and the body, mind, senses has created the Jiva Bhava or the Jiva. So if you have to just move away and the Jiva Bhava will fall down. This is the only simple technique. So you have to start practice, and everything comes with a practice. So once you become a spectator, a witness to the drama of your life, then everything will start being, you will start feeling easy. Like the trouble of some third person whom you hardly know. What happens? If that person is undergoing any pain or pleasure or joy, does it really matter to you much? You only say and you know that yes, he is under pain or he is say under tremendous joy, and by your compassionate nature you behave that way. You see, you feel sorry for him or you feel happy for him. But now that same person, depending on the amount of attachment you have towards that person's joy or sorrow affects you to that extent. You watch your own life. Whoever, the more the person is closer to you, the more the person's joys and sorrows affect you. How is that? Because of that attachment. And what affects you the most is your own joys and sorrows, because you are attached to yourself to the maximum extent. Next comes your children, your spouse, your siblings, your parents. They all come in that same order. The more you are attached to a person, the more is the impact. It could be a good friend also, where you have gotten very much attached to. Now, anything happening to that person, you feel sorry, you feel hurt, or you feel happy. So here the whole drama, the whole aspect is of that attachment. And how does attachment come? Thinking about that person or object again and again. See, these are all very simple aspects, but you need to get to know. See, unless and until you know the way, and unless and until you have the key, you will not be able to cross over. First you need to know the way, and then you will come at a point where it is locked, the door is locked. You need to have the key. So these are all what Lord Krishna is giving us over here. So you become a witness to your own self. So the difference in watching a drama and a real life is, you consider yourself as, in a drama, you are sitting there as a spectator, okay? But now you say in the same way you become a spectator to your own life, own personality. So in a drama, you are only a spectator. But in real life, what happens is, you are not only a spectator, but you are an actor also. Look at yourself. As a spectator, witness. Just like an actor is playing his role as per the directions and dialogues given by the director, without any attachment to the role or the character, the person plays your role, his or her role. He just keeps playing. Now, the director says, you are a beggar. And accordingly, the costume of a beggar are put on, and the dialogue as a beggar, whatever needs to be told, he'll keep playing that. Now, is there any attachment to the role? No. Isn't the actor and the role in which he is acting different? Yes. In the same way, you are that actor in your real life, and this life which is happening, every moment it is unfolding, is like the role you are playing. Very carefully understand this. And it is not difficult at all. You have to just train your mind. And the good part is that plasticity, what we call the neuroplasticity, anything which you have conditioned your brain with, where the neural paths have been formed. How have they been formed? By constant thinking of some aspect. Now when you constantly think of this particular knowledge, then the old neural paths fade away and the new neural paths are formed. Then you don't have to do anything for yourself to, again and again you don't have to say. That becomes your natural course. Like if you're learning a shlok, initially you have to, like each and every word, each and every syllable, you understand and you're tongue twisting and you're practicing. But then as you read it a couple of times, half a dozen times, a dozen times, then it just comes naturally. Then at one point what happens? You don't even have to look at the book. How did this happen? A neural pathway is formed in your brain. Now we don't have this knowledge. How are we looking at ourselves? How are we acting in this world? That me and this living person is one and the same. But that is not what is told over here. So you have to see you are playing a role over here. You may be a beggar, but as an actor, you are a billionaire. But when it comes to the role of a beggar, you are playing the role of a beggar. You can't say that I am a billionaire. How can I keep begging for some few coins over here? No, the role demands. So in the same way, you have to just play your role. If someone comes and scolds you, he says all unacceptable things to you, know that you are a witness to the person who scolded and insulted you. Here you are an actor, a spectator. When that person is behaving rude to you, just keep it in your mind. He is also acting and I am also as an actor receiving it. How? You are a spectator to the one who scolded you and to yourself. And yourself as an actor, whose true self is different from that as an actor. So, just as a true actor can congratulate the one who scolded him. Now let's say this shot is over. The person who scolded him, he comes out with him. You liked his acting so much. You congratulate him and say, wow, what a fantastic dialogue delivery. Now what was that dialogue delivery? He scolded you. But now what did you look at him? You did not look at him as a person. You looked at him as an actor. And you know that you are also an actor. So here replace the words of that word actor to gunas. So you look at the gunas in him, and you also look at the gunas in you. So as it is done on a stage in a drama, same way in the real life, you need to do that. Appreciate the one who was harsh with you in your mind, of course. Appreciate him in his mind. No emotions, no sentiments. Just yes, out of the gunas he is behaving like this. And where does that come from? From your prarabdha karma. Remember, we all are governed by a set of rules. Adrishta, duradrishta, all that is coming to you. You get good news, you get bad news. How is all this happening? Your karma, prarabdha karma is unfolding. As you have a tree in your garden, it first sprouts into nice leaves, and then you get a nice bud, and then a flower, and then a fruit, a seed and a fruit. How did all that happen? That is all it is. What is there inside is all sprouting. So as a spectator, you may appreciate the role. Let's say, for example, of Ravana. So in the climax fight between Rama and Ravana, the dying scene of Ravana, okay, now that was mind-blowing the way Ravana acted. Now as the audience clap, and they may even say once more, they know, because this is a stage. He is acting, they know that. In the same way, being in the Sakshi Bhava, which they are truly, the audience can do this. You too have to become that to your living. This is actually the master key to a ihaloka and paraloka sadhana. This is the master key. We too have to become that meaning that as a spectator to our own life, our own living. In our real life, we have to practice this. Now, example. Let's say if in a room there are about half a dozen people, they are quarreling, arguing on some matter seriously, hot exchange of words, heated argument. So every word told by one person affects all others in the room. All other person and every person present in the room. Because they react, passively or actively they react. But imagine there is one person who is watching all this from outside the room as a silent spectator. Let's say he's a office boy over there who is outside the room. And luckily it's a cabin with glass panels. He is able to see the whole drama. He watches the whole drama without being the part of the situation. He neither has an opinion, nor a remark, nor a suggestion, nor an emotion, nor any reaction. So here, Lord Sri Krishna advises us here. You become one like this. No, I have been telling you again and again, he says. I am telling you that you are not doing anything over here. In chapter 3, verse 27, he very clearly told us. He says, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimodhatma kartaramiti manyate. Crystal clear. He says, Mudhatma, the fool, whose mind is deluded by ego, thinks that I am the doer. He doesn't know, poor fellow. Now here, till we came to understand this or study this, which was again Ishvara Krupa, now we are coming to know that I am not the doer, but by mistake I have understood that I am the doer. And that is what I have to get rid of. Correct? So, he says, I have told you. Then again in verse 13, chapter 13, he says, Prakritaivacha karmani kriyamanani sasvashaya pashyati tadatmanam kartaram sapashyati. What is this? The same thing he says again. So, one has to understand that all the actions of the body are performed by Prakriti, the material nature. And while that embodied soul, now what is the embodied soul? That reflected consciousness, that does nothing, actually nothing. So become a silent observer. And this can be achieved only by constant practice. You have to again and again, when you're, you know that you'll be looking in this manner which you have been used to, suddenly you have to say, no, it is now my good in me, whatever gun, sattva gun, rajo gun, tamo gun is activated and I am behaving like that. And also know that the person across you who is behaving in a particular manner, look at the gun in him, sattva gun, rajo gun, tamo gun, and only keep looking at that gun. As you look at the other person, look at yours also in the same way. Guna vartantya ityeva. Become a silent observer. And yah avatishtati na ingate, he says. Avatishtati means become completely firm in that attitude of yours. And na ingate, meaning nengate is the sandhi, when you break it, it becomes na ingate. Ingate means to change. Na ingate means never change. Nengate. You keep this particular thought in your mind, constantly keep reminding yourself. Because the gunas are active in us and they take you to wrong situations. Unless and until you watch yourself, you will not be able to correct them. So you have to become a watcher of your own mind, which is known as metacognition in the scientific world. I'll tell you a small incident. A sadhak was basically telling us, Swami, who was giving discourse on Bhagavad Gita. This is about a Swami. That, he as a sadhak, he says, I have no interest in Adhyatma, these Puranas, and this spiritual knowledge. I don't have interest. Now that Swamiji asks that sadhak, why did you lose interest? What happened? You started off so rigorously, but suddenly you are saying that you lost interest. He said, see Swamiji, my father used to organize all these discourses at my home, and I used to see that these pandits used to come to give the pravachan, the Bhagavad Gita discourse. For about hour and a half they used to give pravachan on the Gita. And immediately as the Gita, the pravachan was over, discourse was over, they used to straight enter the kitchen and they used to inquire, what is that sweet dish you have made for the day? And what else you have made as menu for the day? Now for 1.5 hours you spoke on this subject. And then it's not even 5 minutes, you come to the kitchen and you ask, what is special for the day? And then you say, did you put enough of cashew kismis in this kheer? You start inquiring. Did you give enough of seasoning to the dishes you have made? Now, if you are in that state of sattva gun, you should not change your mind so suddenly. So that's the reason I got fed up. And then he says, look, there are people who are not stable. They have just for the sake of a living, they are doing that. So such people cannot have this knowledge. So you should not, what ingate means, their mind changes. But you ensure that when you have come to a high state of sattva gun, don't fall back to rajogun and tamogun. Lift yourself, because that there is a boundary you have to cross after the sattva gun to the shuddha sattva gun. Then only you will be able to make good for yourself. Like there was one we can talk of, a person who has really achieved this. In Udupi, there is one Adamaru Mutt. Okay, so there was a Swamiji known as Vibhuddha Priya Swami. Vibhuddha Priya Swami. Now, they say that in his last months of his life, he really lived like a Gunatita, an Avaduta. What is the meaning of that? He cut off his contact from the entire world, with everyone. No talking, no discussion, no meetings, no interaction. And they said that he had told everyone that you please keep food outside my room. I will not allow anybody to come in my room also. And they used to see that sometimes he has eaten the food, sometimes the food is just outside. Meaning this person, he says, I don't want to be influenced by the gunas of others. And once in a while, he's a Swami, the head of the mutt. He used to go to the kitchen early in the morning and ask the chief cook to make about 100 Puran Polis or about 100 pieces of Mysore Pak. Why? He used to take all that and go to the primary school over there, kindergarten school, and distribute it to the school kids and return back. Because he says, I don't feel like talking to the elders. They are all filled with this raga, dvesha, krodha, lobha, moha, mada. But the children have that serene mind. So once in a while he used to just go, catch up with the children and come back. This is one of the kinds of the Gunatita, we can say, who have desired to keep out of the three gunas, and it is not possible for everybody. But now, what about us? We are a grahastha. We can't just lock our room and sit inside. So here, what Lord Krishna says is, practicing Sakshi Bhava, being a witness itself is a Gunatita Lakshana. So this is the crux of the entire 23rd verse. What Arjuna has asked, what is the Lakshana? What is meaning? Or the qualification of a Gunatita. He says this, he practices Sakshi Bhava. He does not live by the gunas, but he lives looking at the gunas as a different person from himself. Okay. Now let's take the verse 24. I'll post it for you. Samadukka sukha swastaha Samaloshtāshma kanchanaha Tulya priya priyo dhīraha Tulya nindatma samstutihi. Now here, Samadukha Sukha Swastaha. It starts, the shlok starts with this. Meaning what? Such a person who is a Gunatit. You are asking me what are his Lakshan, right? His qualities. Such a person sees joys and sorrows equally. Now, we had sent you the highlights, what we are going to learn today. As I am explaining, you will get answers for all that. See, there are so many things. This is the way we have to understand the meaning of these particular shlok. So I have deciphered that you will, if you carefully watch, you will get all these answers. Okay. So what does he see? He sees joys and sorrows equally. Meaning what? He understands that when a joy is being experienced, he knows not to get too elated. Don't jump around. Sorrow is waiting at the door. Meaning, when you are experiencing sorrow, don't get too depressed. Joy is waiting at the door. Meaning your life is a continuous circle of joy and sorrow. So don't pay much heed for that. It's like, some people, when flies are coming, the flies, they keep moving around you. And if a person is constantly hitting the fly with his hand, say a person who he has come from abroad and he is not much used to these flies, he keeps constantly hitting. What do we tell him? Arey Baba, don't bother about it. You can't do anything. They come and they go. Ignore it. So that is what we need to do over here. These joys and sorrows, they come and go. Ignore it. Don't get attached. Arey, joy came, feel happy. You call people and say, I'm so happy today, I want to give a party, let's go and celebrate. This, that. No, don't get into all that. Because by the time you are about to celebrate, you will get some news of sorrow also. Just as you tell somebody, ignore that fly, it will go away. Why are you putting so much energy and focus on it? Same way, this person, he ignores joys and sorrows. And you know what more they understand? They know that a person who might have given you lots of happiness in your life, for which, at one point of time you're very proud of, remember, that person one day can do something against your wishes and give you an equal amount of sorrow or sadness. This has definitely happened to us in our lives. Take the most important people in your life. At some point they gave you maximum joy, and because of them at some point you are having maximum sorrow. So now carefully understand, the joy and sorrow is in the mind. In your mind, my mind. The object and the person did not actually give you any joy or sorrow. Whenever my mind liked something, we called it as joy. The person is the same. Whenever my mind liked something, I call it as joy, and whenever we don't like something, we call it as sorrow. So joy and sorrow is in the mind and it is not in the object. Understand carefully. What we think that object is giving me joy or sorrow. No. It is in your mind. Understand these fundamentals. I'll give some examples. Hot water. In winter, it's pretty chill. Now you have to get up early to take a flight in the morning, early morning. Hot water, you took a shower. You say, my God, what a refreshing feeling. Now, that same hot water, in summer, if you had to take a shower, does it give you the same amount of feel-good factor? No, obviously. Now, is there any change in that water? It is that same hot water. That hot water in winter, it gave you joy, and that same hot water in summer is not giving you joy, but you feel it's a torture. You would have rather liked cold water. Now, so the joy and sorrow was not in that object. If it was the same, then be it winter or summer, you should get the same amount of joy. It is in your mind. Meaning what the mind likes, dislikes, that gives you the joy and sorrow and not the object. And another example, take cold, nice, chill breeze. In summer, that chill breeze gives you that wow feeling. You really express wow. But that same chill breeze in a cold winter, you'll curse it. Now, is there any difference in that object? Object is the same, but it gave you joy and sorrow depending on what your mind likes. When you are hungry, the third example, when you are hungry, somebody gives you food and you are so happy, you welcome it. Basically, let's say they gave you some chapati, that's all. You liked it, you welcomed it. But when a person is satiated, is full completely, at that point of time, you give a Puran Poli also to that person. He says, it's a torture for me now. Now that food is the same, but the joy and sorrow it is giving is different. How did it happen? It is the mind. So John Milton, who is compared to the Shakespeare of modern times, in his one of the greatest books, which is even revered today, The Lost Paradise, he says, a mind on its own and in its place can make a heaven out of hell or a hell out of heaven. So mind on its own and its place. So what exactly is happening over here is all this is happening in your mind. Now what are we practicing? We become an observer, a witness, a spectator to our own minds. As far as you are connected to the mind, then all these things which happen in your mind, they affect you. But once you distance yourself, just like that watchman, the office boy was sitting outside the cabin where that heated argument was happening, nothing happened to him. If he was also a part of that discussion, then probably he would have also reacted, he would have got angry, he would have made some active or passive reaction. But he was not, he was just observing. So in the same way, we need to observe our mind. That is when we can make, whatever be the situation in the mind, we can make a heaven out of our own mind, even if it is hell. But when you don't understand things in the right perspective, without this kind of a knowledge, even though you are in the best of the situation, a heaven-like situation, you are creating a hell for yourself. So the same object, depending on our mindset, appears joy and sorrow. A jnani does not understand this. He just keeps tossing between joy, sorrow, Many a times he does not really know what is true joy and what is true sorrow. Now, what is the example for that? Like an ajnani understands sorrow as joy. Okay? Say, and vice versa also. Like say for example, cigarette smoking and addiction in liquor. Now, regarding all this, there is one very good saying in Vishnu Puran. Vedavyas ji says, "Bhranti jnana vrittakshanam dukkhameva sukhayate," meaning to a person who is blindfolded with bhranti, ignorance or delusion, sorrow appears to look like joy. Actually, what is this? Cigarettes or this liquor, all this is sorrow, but for them it is joy. The moment they get a happy moment, they get to listen something good, they'll say, today we should have a party, get the best scotch available. So this is the bhranti. Their mind is filled with delusion. They consider sorrow as joy. And another very important example, this is extremely careful for us. We need to take a relook at our lives. Many people work so hard, toiling day and night. They really don't have much joy. It is painful for them. They're working continuously. They don't get time to eat. They don't get time to talk to their family members. All the time traveling, catching one flight after another, moving from one place to another, one meeting after another, which they understand that they are doing something great. They know that what they will get out of this is they can earn some more money. And for them, money is that joy factor. Just like as a person with a delusion who consumes cigarettes and liquor thinking that it is joy, although it is sorrow, here the person thinks money is that joy. And what is that money? Which he already has enough. And he doesn't need also. Can there be a greater delusion than this? Can there be a greater ignorance in one's life than this? How is he deluded? The greed to earn more money overtakes the pain of the travel, the meetings, the short sleeps. He is not able to sleep well also. And there is no exercise, no family outings, no entertainment, no functions, no friends. Of course, there is no peace for him, but he thinks that money is making him happy. He says, I'm earning more money, I'm earning more money. I know of a person in Mumbai who, about 30 years back, he comes from this town of Udupi. He sets up a restaurant over here. And he says, in the beginning, I used to get up at 4 in the morning and I used to prepare the batter, chutney, clean up the hotel. He had a small restaurant which can accommodate about 10-12 people. And he said, I used to set up everything because people used to start coming from 6. And I barely had about 2 assistants. And that way he toiled, he grew in business. And his life continued the same way. Slowly he set up a bigger restaurant, and then more than one restaurant. Then he gets half a dozen restaurants, and eventually what happens? He has lost his health completely and he's bedridden. So what we think at that moment, he's just seeing is that his money is growing. He was making a living having nothing, but when he had one good restaurant and the second and the third, he went on with the same lifestyle which he was used to. He never brought in a change because that money was coming in, and that is that greed and delusion. He thought that happiness what that money is giving is the goal of his life. Look at money. We think it is joy. Eventually the same money can become sorrow in one's life. People earn. They, like partners, come together, they earn. They earn putting all their efforts together. Once they have a great amount of money, they start fighting amongst each other. The same thing happens between brothers. The same things happen between father and children. And sometimes it even goes to the extent of courts. And courts, they can take a lifetime. Sometimes thieves can come and steal your money, and that gives you a sorrow. Sometimes the IT department can come and give you sleepless nights. Health can give you sleepless nights. Now why this whole thing is happening? Because you are just used to only making money and you are not taking care of anything else. But a jnani understands the border limit for everything and anything in life. As simple as you're cooking lunch for the family. You're making rotis. What do? You will take a quick count. How many are there at home? Yes, 4 of them. And you know how many eat. Whatever is their quantity of consumption, you calculate. And then you make a few rotis, 2 or 3 rotis extra. And you stop. That is the act of a jnani, a person who has got sense. You don't just keep making rotis because you have got atta and you have got the stop. You know where to stop. But a person without that knowledge, he has enough, but he is continuously working behind it. A Jnani knows, why should I waste my time, my energy, beyond a point for what is not needed and for which I already have enough? Such a person invests his mind and his complete energy in swastataha. Swastataha means Atma Bhava, in the divine Paramatma, and accepts whatever is given by him as his prasada. Just like a matured child knows that every incident taken by his or her parents are for his upliftment. But if the child is not matured enough, then they behave abrupt. Same way a true Jnani, a Gunatita whom we are talking about, accepts Sukha and Dukkha equally in life, knowing very well that the failure, the success, sorrow of today is for my betterment tomorrow. Like it happened, a small story of our ex-president Abdul Kalam ji. He had a great desire to become a pilot. Right from his school days, he had that vision that I should become a pilot. And all his energies were focused on becoming a pilot. He got himself trained and he appeared for all the entrance examinations. One after the other, the examinations went on well. He was passing in all the exams. Finally, in his medical test, because of his not so good eyesight, he was rejected. Now, this rejection became a great amount of dejection for him because he had crossed over all the written examinations, the oral examinations, the other physical fitness, and whatever required, everything had passed. Just because of his not so good eyesight, he got rejected, and that dejection, it completely shook him. It so happened that he went to Rishikesh and he was thinking of committing suicide in the Ganga over there. There, for his good luck, as we all are under the mercy of our prarabdha karma, he got in touch with Swami Shivananda, who was the Diksha Guru to our Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda. They come across, he saw the Swami and their eyes met. He goes and prostrates before him and Swami Shivananda tells him, he was a young boy in his mid-20s, rather a young man you can say. He says, why are you looking so dejected? And Abdul Kalam ji explained. Then he says, do you know something? You wanted to become a pilot, but God has got a better plan for you. These words coming from a Swami and the vibrations that gave Abdul Kalam ji a strong sense of confidence to move ahead in life. It struck him so hard that he said, now, yes, I think there is what the Swami says is good. Something good is there for me. And he comes out of that dejection. So living as a Ajnani in joy and sorrow, suffering all along, because for some time you had pain, but again you have sorrow. You have pleasure and then again you have pain. So what are you doing there? You are being a karta, a bhokta, and you are caught in the wheel of samsara. What is the use of such life? So this is, you are doing karma. By doing karma, what is happening? You are getting into the karma bandhan. But now here Lord Krishna tells us, akarma, do actions without the sense of kartaship, bhoktaship. That is akarma. How do I do that? That you are not the doer. The gunas in you are doing. Or you look at yourself as a witness I'll tell you a story. Probably that will give a better understanding. This is about a samurai warrior. One of the teachers to the samurai warriors, he calls one of his students and he tells him, there is so and so person in the neighboring state who is our enemy, in the neighboring kingdom who is our enemy. And he asks his student, you go and challenge him and he will come for a fight, because you are a samurai warrior, he is also a samurai warrior. So there is a tradition that when you go and challenge, that person will not say no, but I want him to be killed. Go and challenge him. Now he goes, he challenges the warrior and he accepts and the fight starts. Now during the fight, when the fight is happening, naturally public are all around, there are rules set and there is a time stipulation. While the fight is happening, that enemy warrior, he spat on the face of this student. Somehow this student, he managed to defend himself for the balance of the time frame, whatever was there for the day. And he was very good. The fight was completely under his control. But he didn't do anything to the enemy. He could have killed him also. He just managed to defend and he finished the fight. Next day morning he came. And within the first few minutes he killed him, the enemy warrior. Now all the people around, they asked him, yesterday we saw that you were too good, you could have killed him actually, but why did you not kill him yesterday, and how is it that why did you kill him today? Then this samurai warrior, student warrior, he tells the people who asked him the question, he says, see, look, that enemy of mine yesterday, he spat on my face and I was furious, I was angry at him. Now if I had killed him yesterday, it would have been that because of my anger on him, I killed him. Now I went back. I calmed myself. I removed the anger, what I had against him and me. And today I came with that objective that I am instructed by my teacher to kill this enemy warrior and nothing else beyond that. And with that intention, he comes and he kills him. So now what happened? As we know, the beauty of this theory of karma is we all have to perform actions. But what is needed is you don't become the karta of your action. Either you surrender it to the Lord as your love unto the Lord, or you do each and every action as your offering to the Lord. So this is the crux. Your intention behind the action is important and not the action itself. So here now what happened, if you observe carefully, he observed his mind. He said, now my mind is angry. He may not have this Vedantic knowledge. But what we can learn from this story is, he was the Sakshi Bhava of himself. He observed his mind, it was angry, and he knows that my intention now, if I kill him when I am angry, it becomes my self-intention. But I am here at the instruction of my teacher. So in the same way, when we are living in this life, we should not live at our own personal egos. When you do anything personally, you become a karta, a bhokta, and you are caught in the wheel of samsara. So to release you, you need to do akarma. And we do not know when a person will die. So we should always keep asking ourselves a question. Is all what I am constantly and currently investing my time, my energy, my resources, are they going to accompany me when I leave this world? Ask yourself again and again. The more strongly we think about this aspect, the more drastically our life can change. If you think you are regularly praying to God daily in your puja room or visiting a temple, you are a great devotee, a bhakta. Yes, you are a great devotee or a bhakta. If your prayers were not without a wish to bail you out of your problems or asking for some favors, if it was other than that, if you are really seeking to connect to the Lord, if you are really seeking and offering your thanks to the Lord, then you are a bhakta. Otherwise, you are just a devotee who is constantly asking for favors. So, samadukka sukha, look at yourself with joys and sorrows equally, being in that swastaha, meaning that Paramatma, Atma Bhava, being in that Atma Bhava. So, who knows, the sorrow of our life can be the threshold of the success in our lives. So, you never know. Now, in my own personal experience, whenever I felt it is the end of the road in my career, when I came to Mumbai in 91, I was competing with extremely large companies who are almost 75 years old, where 3 generations were working together, and I am one sole person. There was nobody to even share my ideas or plans, strategies, because the question is, I don't have a partner, I don't have a trusted person, and I can't share, otherwise it will go into the market. So now I really met dead ends many times. But that faith was there that there is somebody who is holding my hand. And that I felt that whenever there was a failure also, I said, I know this is for my good. These are testing times. And when I reciprocated with that gratitude and thankfulness, that eventually led to a huge success. And gradually that became a way of life for me. Why I'm saying all this is because I personally, I stand as an example for this doctrine, what we're talking about. Have that faith, that confidence in that Lord. He tests you. But if you get through that, then you're one for life. Samalosh kanchana is the next quality what the Lord is talking about. I think we'll take this in the next class. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Come now, let's take the divine gunas, the 2 divine gunas, which are verse 27, 253 and 254. First, let's read the shlok, verse 27. असंख्येयो प्रमेयात्मा विशिष्टः शिष्टकृच्युतिः सिद्धार्थः सिद्धिसंकल्पः सिद्धिदः सिद्धिसाधनः. सिद्धिसंकल्पः. Sankalpa means intellectual willing and wishing. One who gains all that he wishes for, or one who immediately gains what he wills, is called Siddha Sankalpaha. Ordinarily, we fail to gain what we wish or demand because of the disintegration within ourselves. The Lord, the perfect, is one who instantaneously gains all that he wishes. Hence the Upanishads define him as the Satya Sankalpavan. This great Parameshwara of the Upanishads is the Mahavishnu, the theme of the 1000 chants Sahasranama. 254. Siddhidaha, one who is the giver of the appropriate reward for all actions, for those who are doing spiritual practices. Lord Narayana is the great universal power that brings about the reward for all actions. To such a divine Lord who is Siddha Sankalpaha and Siddhidaha, we pray to grant us the divine vision to understand Thy true self. O Lord, without Your grace, we will not be able to achieve. We beseech in You to grant us this grace. Om Tat Sat. Now let's do the Dhanvantari mantra chanting 3 times. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. To the Lord of Dhanvantari, who is none other than the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, we offer our humble salutations to bless us with robust health and achieve all the goals which lead towards the Paramatma in our life. Om Tat Sat. Now let's do the Sakshatkara Siddhi Yoga Dhyana with the pearls of wisdom. Please make yourself comfortable wherever you are seated. Ease up your body. Whichever part is a little uneasy, make it comfortable. Head, neck and spine in a straight line. Relax your forehead, your face, your neck, your shoulders, your upper body and your lower body. Let's take a few deep breaths. Inhale and exhale as deep as you can. Now become a witness to the thoughts in your mind. Antarika Drishanuvitsa Vikalpa Samadhi. Keep observing the thoughts in your mind. without being judgmental. Allow the thoughts to come in your mind and pass away. Observe the thoughts slowly reducing and eventually there are no thoughts. The second level, Antarika, Shabdanavit Savikalpa Samadhi, using the power of the mantra and the breath. Feel the oneness with the divine. So the Chaitanya Shakti which has encompassed the whole universe, and that Chaitanya Shakti reflected in you as the Chaitana Shakti is in essence one and the same. Experience that oneness. Now in the serene state of mind, let us listen to the pearls of wisdom. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. All the movable and immovable you see in existence is by the union of Kshetra and Kshetrika. Know that the Paramatma accompanies the Atma, which is present in all beings, and understand that Atma and Paramatma are imperishable in this perishable body. Paramatma is equally present in every soul. All actions are performed by Prakriti and not the Atma. All the diverse living beings are a part of one Prakriti and are born by that one Prakriti, which is created by that one Paramatma. Such Paramatma, who does not have any beginning, who does not have any material qualities, this imperishable Paramatma, although he dwells in the body, he neither acts nor he is tainted. Just like space holds everything but does not get contaminated, same way the soul, the Atma, although pervading in the entire body, does not get contaminated. Just as the sun illumines the whole universe, same way the Atma illumines the entire body. In this way, the one who perceives with eyes of knowledge this subtle difference between Kshetra, which is Vikari, Jada, momentary and destructible, and who understands Kshetrajna as Nitya, Chetana, Avikari and Avinashi. And also those who understand that all actions are performed by Prakriti will attain that supreme Parabrahman, Paramatma. Hari Om Tat Sat. Now transcend from your mind and body. Feel the oneness with the entire universe. Now slowly focus on your breath at the tip of your nostrils. Become aware of your mind and body. Become aware of where you are seated. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Please rub your hand palm. Place them on your eyes. Gently and lovingly open your eyes. Together, we offer today's Gita Jnana Yajna at the lotus feet of the Lord. Naham Karta Hari Karta Hari Preranaya Hari Prityartham. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Idam Namama. Om Tat Sat.
रजसो लोभ एव च